for a few minutes anyway. I got to set up the green screen. So before people start showing up, this isn't going to be a real long live feed. It's only going to be maybe an hour or so, but I've got to set up the studio because today is the day that I have a chance to film because I'm off today. So I'm not sure who all is going to be here or how many people are going to be here, but we're just going to have some fun with it. So you guys know Blade Show is ending or has just ended. Let's bring up live chat there. Let's see. Setting up the green screen, setting up the green screen. Where's the other? There we go. Who? No one's here. Let's see. I'm hoping that some people show up. I do know it's early on a Monday morning, but there is someone here. I'm just setting up the studio. It's only going to take me a couple minutes. The last thing I do is just get the green screen and the light stands up. So we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about stainless steel. There's a misconception, and I'm kind of tired of it. It's been going on for a long time. 9mm Mike, how you been, sir? I haven't seen you on here in a while. There's been a misconception for a long time about stainless steel. And if I don't hit your comment up immediately, guys, give me a second because I'm doing two things at once. I had somebody else complain. I was talking about something at a video, and they're like, well, if it's stainless steel, like, you're an idiot. Like, that's not stainless steel. And I'm like, it's absolutely stainless steel. It's just a high carbon stainless. Louis, almost 4 a.m. here in Maryland, getting up for work. I am just making some chili because I work nights, so it's still morning time for me. I just barely would have gotten to, let's see, what is it? It's just a little after midnight, 12:47, I mean. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. You got something on your face. You got some grass on your face. Come here. Up, up, up. Up, don't push, hop up. Hop up so everyone can see you. Hop up, get your screen time. Get your screen time. Let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, it's just me and the puppers. The wife and kid are currently in Japan. Oh, his ball. I gotta get his ball. Somehow his ball got. Give me a second. Watch out, bud. Back up, I'll get it for you. Here you go. Oh, go get it. Going home at 4 a.m. I don't know if I would want to get off at 4. I think that's a weirder sleep schedule than what I currently have. 11 to 7, that traditional third shift does not bother me at all. I'm actually, it doesn't. I don't get to spend as much time with my family, but right now it doesn't bother me at all because they're in Japan. It's much quieter to film, much cooler when I'm filming. So give me a second. I gotta grab the actual screen. Like I said, I will be hitting up you guys' comments, but at any rate, like I was saying, somebody was calling me an idiot because they're like, I had a video where I had put up and there was some rust on a knife, and I was talking about how, you know, it's a high carbon stainless, and they're like, stainless, that's not stainless, doesn't rust, or stainless doesn't rust. I was like, it's gonna rust. All steel with iron in it as the base metal for the steel is going to rust. It will. It's going to oxidize. You're going to have iron oxide form. It's just the thing. If it has an Fe in the chemical composition, it's going to rust. Now, Nitnell steels are the only ones that are completely rust-proof, but they're not steel. They're nickel and titanium alloyed together. There we go. It's a nickel titanium alloy. So you get a bunch of, yep, your hours suck. I don't know. Hey, hello. I had to finally sharpen this. After all the carrying I did, I finally had to sharpen this. I don't know what the actual chemical composition is of this variant of M390 that Microtech's using, but it's holding up pretty well, and I did cut a lot of cardboard. My wife bought a lot of stuff to take to Japan with her to visit her family, and there was a lot of cardboard waste that I did a bunch of slicey on with that. So it's I'm impressed. I'm pleased with it. I'm not going to say that I see anything wrong with the heat treat on it. So yeah, I see that you do comment on every single one of my short posts. I appreciate it. That is something to do. You know what else? Hit the like button on it and these live feeds. It definitely helps. So where's the dog? Right at my feet here. He's just laying here. So he's going to a friend's house for the week because I'm going to do a lot of overtime this coming week. So I made arrangements with our friends that gave us the dog to have him go to their place for the week, just so that I don't have to worry about leaving him here for 12-hour shifts. So I know I'm out of camera shot. I'm just trying to get this all set up. And I got to turn off this pot of beans, set a timer for 1 hour. So I look like Mr. Beast. I wish I got the views of Mr. Beast. That would be cool. Let's see here. Give me just a second. I'm almost done with this. While I'm setting up the light, I can set the lights up and still talk to you guys and not have to be out of screenshot. I just have to grab those light stands. All right, I will even that out. Give me a second. Light stands. Setting up the studio. Oh, Chunk, move. Go in the house, bud. Go in the house, bud. At least till I get done setting up. In the house. I set the other tripod up. I'm going to tell you, it is nice to have, like, so as time goes on, I've just continued to purchase more equipment. I have the tripod that you guys are on. I have the tripod that's here. I have light stands. I have multiple light stands. I have multiple lights. And it's just nice, depending on the scenario, to have a lot of stuff. It's like some of the woodworkers say, just when you buy tools, just keep buying tools. Don't get rid of anything. Just keep buying tools. If you got to start out cheap, then start out cheap. But it's always nice to have more of something than less, because having two tripods gives you a good bit of flexibility. I can set up multiple shots. I have a gooseneck tripod. I have lights of different types and sizes that I've purchased. And now I have the lavalier microphone system that makes this sound so much better. So give me a second. So stainless steel is not stain proof. It's stainless, hence the name of stainless steel, not stain proof steel. So you're going to have oxidation on a lot of steels. The way it works is there's chromium in steel. So you have chromium steels, right? Everybody knows this. So during the heat treat process, you can actually make a fairly stainless steel less stainless through the heat treat process. And I know this because I've done it. I made a lot of knives in 20 CV. I used a specific heat treat for the custom knives that I made. Let me put the caps on these and then. So the specific heat treat that I used, I took it well above what production companies are doing 20 CV or M390, which is an analog. They're basically the same steel. So when you heat treat the steel, you're forming the carbides. There's some naturally in the annealed steel, but it's basically the heat treat process hardens the steel and it forms a structure where you have a lot of the carbides forming. And so in a lot of steels, chromium and carbon together are your predominant, I got to go behind the green screen, are your predominant carbides that are formed. So what happens is the chromium that's in the steel that gives it its stainless properties. What you have is chromium oxide that forms at the surface of the metal. So it's chrome and oxygen, they oxide together, and you get a, it's rust resistant. You have a coating over top protecting the carbon in the blade from the oxygen and the iron in the blade from the oxygen, which means that you're not going to get that you're not going to get the oxidation of the steel anywhere near as easily. So the harder you make a steel, like when I would take 20 CV all the way up to 64, 65 Rockwell, as opposed to the typical 61, 62, to get it there, and to what you wind up doing is at those higher temperatures, you combine more of the chromium with more of the carbon that's available in the steel. When there's more chromium absorbed into the carbon to make the carbides, there's less available at the surface to form the chromium oxide that prevents the rust. So 20 CV typically is a very rust resistant steel, but when you take it up to the heat treats and hardnesses and things that I took it to, you lose a good bit of that chromium that's available to prevent the rust. And now it's absorbed into carbides, which means you've got a much better edge, you've got a lot more resilience, you've got you've maximized all the things in that steel. But in maximizing those things, there has to be a give and take. When you get some things on one side, you lose some stuff on the other. It's that raise and lower, so you have to figure it out. So it's still fairly rust resistant, even at the higher levels at the Rockwell that I was doing it at. But it's going to rust much easier than like your production version of that knife. So where's this come from? Well, I was talking about some low stainless steels in a video one time, and they were like, well, if it's rusting, it's not stainless. And I tried to go back through the thing, and I just wanted to explain, like, D2 is a tool steel. It's on that verge of being stainless. It's in that stainless range. So is Crewware and some other steels. But like I said, the amount of carbon they have means that they're going to have more chromium oxides that form versus having, or chromium carbides that form versus the chromium oxides. I got to grab my coffee. Let me make sure. Let me see. Did I make my coffee? I did not. I did not. I didn't even pour it. I honestly don't know if you guys can hear me while I'm in the kitchen. So yeah, that's the thing about the carbides and the stainless. So what's everybody got in their pockets now that I've got everything studio-wise pretty much set up, except actually mounting the lights to the light stands and setting them to the proper height? That coffee is cold. I turned the hot plate option off on that coffee pot. I did. I remember now. I remember doing it because I was setting the timer, and I know I forget to turn the coffee pot off. So I just turned off. The coffee pot we have has an option to turn off the warmer plate, so that just when it makes the coffee, it's done. Because I make coffee at 9, I get up at 9, the first thing I do is put it in my thermos. That coffee is cold. I forgot I did that. If you guys, any of you guys are content creators, mark all your stuff. Mark all your stuff. Make sure you got good mounts for all your stuff so that you don't have to do it. And then one of the best things that you can do, so you don't have to fuck around with trying to figure out if your light is at the right height or not. So guys, if you're here, I'd appreciate you drop a like, and don't forget, like, if you've got the free funds, like if you're independently wealthy and just can't sleep and you're watching one of my live feeds, I do accept super chats. I do. These Amazon basic light stands, I'll tell you right now, these are some of the best light stands I've bought. So let me know where you're at in the world. I'm just curious where everybody's at. See? a Milwaukee. I hate. All right, I do know a lot of people like the Milwaukee Fastback and stuff like that. I personally think they're trash. I've handled them. My buddy was like, bro, I can't see why you don't like the Fastback. And I was messing with it. I was like, I fucking hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So, oh, I got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to get a call tonight that I got to work tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that's why I'm taking the dog in the morning as opposed to Tuesday morning. So we may not get a lot of filming done. These lights have the same mount as a cold shoe. You can actually take these off and put them on a cold shoe in on a camera. And I'm like a DLSR, DSLR, DLS. I can't remember how it is. But where's everyone going? There's 14 people here. I'm asking questions. Spyderco Shaman, Crewwear in pocket. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. The only approved knife for work. I've got a buddy, same thing. But he loves it. He's like, bro, this is the best knife I've ever had. And I was like, that is garbage. The Milwaukee knives, those are the ones they're authorized to have. I am carrying the Spyderco Military 2 in Crewwear. I love Crewwear. I do. A couple of my favorite. Now, this has been a kind of a grail, even though I do have a checkered past with Spyderco and how I feel about some of their practices. I talked about it in a video. It's gotten better. It's gotten better. Jeez, it's warm in here today. It's like 71, 72 degrees out here. I'm probably going to shed this sweatshirt. Well, that's weird. How has that happened? Oh, wrong mark. There we go. Now they're the same height. Crewwear is my favorite. It's not my favorite steel. Crewwear is not my favorite steel. If I had to pick a favorite steel, I would have to say it's 14C28N. I like hawkbill blades. I just don't like them for like a work purpose. Guys, please drop a like. There's 16 of you guys here and only 7 likes. We're going to do this for about an hour. Oh, I did a short about this. Guys, I had put away my Rosecraft blade knives. If you guys haven't checked out Rosecraft blades, you should. They are a really good bunch of knives. Like the stuff that they're putting out has been great. I have a bunch of them. They came there. I have an affiliate link with them. Not an affiliate link. I'm sorry. I have a coupon code, a discount code. I don't make anything from the sale of these knives. They've sent me a bunch of them. I've liked them all. I've liked some of them better than others. Their knives are really good. This is the Rosecraft Blades Weya. I've been carrying it again for a while. I don't have any issues with this knife. A lot of people don't like the Rosecraft stuff. I dig this a lot. This is kind of a nice looking, stretched out, kind of almost like a clip point style on this, like an outdoor style knife. This thing's really comfortable. Really, really nice knife. I had put it away and just hadn't carried it in a while. I got it out and I was like, man, I love this knife. It's up there as far as like comfort level and utilitarian factor as a lot of my much more expensive knives. So if you haven't checked out Rosecraft blades, you should. What else has everybody got going on? What is everyone carrying knife-wise? Man, it is warm out here. Cut my hair today. What's up, Panzer New Zealand? Panzer is a paying member from New Zealand. Used to jump in when I used to do when I had the ability to do it. I would do movie night where we'd stream movies over my private network to my paying members. I don't have that software anymore, and I can't do it. I wish I could. That would be a lot of fun. Oh, speaking of steels, just subbed. I'm kind of going that direction. There's still some really good ones. Don't get me wrong. I still love 20 CV M390. I made knives in it for a very long time. There's a lot of problems with the super steels. There really are. I have a steel here that I really dig. That is, what is this? This is in 80 CRV2. ADC V2. This is that Carnivora Mako. I still have to do the overall review. This is the one that I had the worst knife ever come in. And this is the new version of that knife, and it is so much incredibly removed from what I saw before. This is a great, great knife. Absolutely love this. This is done by, why can't I think of his name? Woodson Knives. Yeah, I'm on third shift now. I run the security operations center at the IQ HQ in San Diego downtown area. So I'm at the monitoring station, watching all the cameras and stuff. I have a PM2 in what is one of my other favorite steels. Give me a second, and I'll grab it. It should be right here. I have a PM2 in S90V, which is one of my favorite steels. Who is this here? Somebody's first time here? What? Oh, Chris's first time here. This is my PM2 in S90V, and I just resharpened it for the first time in a long time, and then used the shit out of it, and it got dull. And since EDC and Lace is here, I was gonna say I used the stropping compound that she sent me, and I brought this right back up. It probably needed, like if I didn't have loaded strops, I would have needed to sharpen this knife. I was like, wow, I cut down so much cardboard in the last few days. Some stuff, stuff my wife bought to take to Japan, like souvenirs and stuff that my wife and daughter are gonna need for the 2 months that they're there. So I stropped it back up because I've loaded a bunch of different strops, like different types of strops with that. And I found that suede is about the best material for Lace's strop compound to stay like really good. And it's soft enough that my convex edges that I do, it's soft enough that it does it. I have like 3 different strops loaded with the stuff that Lace sent me. And I have some raw strops, and I have some different, different microns. So it did a great, great job on this. I also have a razor strop, but I didn't load it with Lace's stuff. I was testing that paste, and the paste was good until it started getting warmer out here. And now that paste has kind of gummed back up, that waxy paste. So I didn't spend very much on it, but I got like 10 tubes of it. So I might start giving those away to paying members. Speaking of which, I still have to do that paid member giveaway. So I don't think I have enough strops for that. And the thing is, for edge maintenance, the 9 micron is just about perfect. So if you guys are looking for, like, in my opinion, if you're looking for something to do the maintenance on your edges with, 9 micron is just about the best. 9 micron is not too fine that it slicks your edge up, but it's also not too aggressive. So when you're using it, it's like a good intermediary between sharpening and doing it. You're not removing a lot of material. So it's really, really good. It stays nice and toothy. And as opposed to the commensurate stone grit, you get a different feel than you do with even the comparable. What am I looking for? Ceramic or diamond stones. I typically don't like a lot of diamond stones. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like a lot of diamond stones. I like the diamond stropping compounds, but I don't typically like diamond stones. Oh, back to stainless steel for a second. So like we said, there's some higher carbon tool steels that are out there that are used in knives a lot. And like I said, they have a tendency to rust, like Crewware. So if you were to look at my Crewware PM2, you're going to see that there is kind of a oily coating that's starting to absorb some pocket lint, right? Well, that's because I use blade wax. This one I got free, but I have had different types of blade wax. This is Carnivora blade wax. This is a really good one. I'm only using. I didn't buy it. I'm using it because they sent it to me when they sent me that that great big knife, and I dig it. It works really well. But I mean, there's other ones out there. Like if you pick a brand that you like, but typically what you want is you want to get something that's food safe. So this is a blend of beeswax, almond oil, and coconut oil. So this is something you can put on your knife, and if you happen to cut up your food with it, you don't have to wipe it off and clean your blade up. People are like, oh, is it food safe? And I'm like, here's the thing. I typically don't care because the fact is that like I'm more concerned about the stuff that's been in and out of my pocket or things that have stuck to my knife throughout the day than I would be whatever coating I put on it. But hey, if that's something you worry about, this might be something for you. I would pick something that's food grade. Wicked wax, it's beeswax, it's fantastic. There's a lot of really good ones out there. Then you've got this one, the KPL Knife Shield. This works really good. This works really good if you're like just putting your knife in your pocket. You're not going to use it a lot. I use my knives a lot, so this doesn't last as long. But this is a lot like the old EDCI. And it works really good. But the thing is, this is also a very good cleaner. So it does protect your steel, but it's a food safe, rust preventative, knife protectant, but it does clean a lot of things. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the best at taking off adhesive. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, you can just use rubbing alcohol. Yes, you can, but you got to spray it and then you got to wipe it. And you got to spray it and then you got to wipe it, especially if you got like heavy amounts of adhesive on your blade. This, if you spray it on and leave it on, it doesn't evaporate away like rubbing alcohol does. And you can take this and you can spray it on. It definitely will stay on, and you can see it start to lift the adhesive. The adhesive will like start to turn dark underneath, and you just take a microfiber cloth after a couple minutes if you've got a lot on there, and then wipe it off. And that's one of the big things. People don't realize how much adhesive can affect your cutting on a knife. There's a lot of times, like if you're cutting stuff that's got a lot of adhesive, even cardboard, the binding agents in cardboard sometimes can be a very adhesive material and it sticks to the blades. And then you run into the problem that it just like your knife feels dull. It's not really dull. It's just got so much gunk on the edge that it's filled up the teeth on those serrations. So a lot of times your knife's not actually dull. A lot of people just like clean that up and then never check their edge again and then immediately sharpen it. And I'm like, you shouldn't have done that. Like you should have checked your edge first. It definitely will start to fill those teeth, especially some of the like the packing tapes that like Amazon uses when they send stuff, and it'll get on your blade to the point where it just doesn't feel sharp anymore, and then people clean it up and sharpen. Yep, Amazon packaging every time. It's one of the worst. So I keep that around because I'll cut up cardboard until that knife stops cutting, and I'll put that knife aside, and then I'll grab, and then I'll just spray them all with KPL blade shield, and then walk away for a few minutes, and then come back and wipe them all down, and then I can go right back to cutting. 9 times out of 10, when you're cutting cardboard and all of a sudden your knife feels dull, it's probably not actually dull. It's probably just got a bunch of adhesive at the edge. Sweat like a horse in the summer. I use my knives to eat with. Ezox. I've heard of Ezox. Like I said, I typically, to tell you the truth, a lot of times I'll just put a light coat of Vaseline on my finger and just put a real light coat of Vaseline on the blades. It's absolutely fucking food. It's not going to fucking hurt you. You put it fucking on your children. Is it food safe? It's not food, but I've got friends that's what they do to prevent their grill from rusting when they're not using it. Is they just smear Vaseline all over their grills for their charcoal grill. So, and then all they do is just light up their grill and just fucking cook on top of it. So I'm like, you know, that's one of the best things. Josh 304, what's up? Sup, dude? I'm microwaving my rice. Sorry, I'm microwaving my rice, and then I'm cooking my chicken for in it. Oh, that's right. There's some already thought out chicken that I got to throw in with this chili I'm making. I stopped making chili with beef. It's not that I don't like chili with beef, but I'm 50 and my guts have decided that there's things that they just don't like anymore. When I eat anything that I use, like, uh, not so much a steak, but like if I'm using like a cut of beef to make chili or ground beef, I get such bad heartburn. So when I make chili, I just use chicken now. Crazy Irish. Crazy Irish is goddamn right. I quit drinking, guys. I mean, I'm not gonna say I haven't had drinks, but like I don't keep alcohol here at the house anymore. Uh, I have not had alcohol here at the house since I finished off that little bottle of whiskey, what was left of that bottle of whiskey you guys saw in the one live feed. I have not purchased alcohol since I took the new job. I just haven't, like, I started smoking weed again. I'm not gonna lie. So it's better. It's a much better, it's better for my body. I don't do it as often. And the $50 that I spent on my flowery concoctions that I purchased, I spent like 50 bucks on some stuff, and I got some freebie fragrant flowers that my buddy gave me because he didn't like it. And that 50 bucks has lasted me since April. I don't do it as often. It's not like I don't partake of the jazz cabbage as heavily as I partake of the alcohol. And I think it's because I'm Irish. Oh yeah, I know. I know. Plus I've lost weight because I'm not consuming that many more calories. Even when I decide that I must consume because I've partaken, I don't consume anywhere near as many calories as I did if I was drinking like a 12 pack of beer. So 12 pack of beer, that's a lot of calories. I didn't, you know, I know it and I've known it for years, but you don't think about it. Like you'll sit down and you're like, um, it's amazing. Like you don't think about it, and then you look at it, and you're like, you sit down, you drink a 12 pack of beer, hanging out with your friends at a barbecue, and you're like, well, I had 2 hamburgers, a hot dog, a bunch of chips, and then 12 beers, and I'm like, just in beer, I've consumed almost my daily ration of calories. Not to mention all the stuff that you all the stuff that you already are consuming. I think my skin looks, it's not so much that my skin looks better. I got up this morning, I've started actually using moisturizer. My daughter was like, look, I know you're a grumpy old guy, but you can use moisturizer. So I don't think it has much to do with anything else other than the fact that I have started using actual skin moisturizer. So, and I look younger because I actually cut my hair and trim my beard. I do that like twice a year. The beard I trim, I just, it's been warm and our AC is down in our office. So, yeah, back to steel. Some of my most recommended steels. Somebody said that they joined after watching the I'm done with super steel video. I would have to say most of the unsub. Look, when you have a baby girl, you do what they tell you. I just wish we could find a way to get rid of this scar because that's a pretty good scar. And I've found that it's more, I told her, I was like, cut my beard off. Last time I shaved my beard off, guys, I shaved my beard off when I was in my 40s. Well, I'm in my 40s. Custom EDC Knives, 29 months as a premium member. Look at that. See, I have a membership. That's one of my premium members. That's Custom EDC Knives. He makes a knife called the Warren Tack, which currently is over with Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery. It's a great, great knife. But now that I'm moisturized, this has become more visible. And I'm like, I think I liked not moisturizing because now my skin, she's like, oh, you got to use this one and the collagen. And she like puts it upstairs, like she put a bunch of it in little containers for me. And I'm like, this is, Okay. But now that my skin is more plump, the scar is much more visible, especially when I smile. That was a good bar fight, not gonna lie. That's one to remember. That was one for the books, boys. That's one of them ones where you're like, that was a fight. That was a fight, let me tell you. Yep. Pretty good scar. Chicks dig scars. Unless you're my wife. Then she's like, you're an idiot. But I was saying about steel before I got interrupted by somebody telling me I look good. I turned 50 in just a few weeks. I'm not a youngin', but I trimmed my beard almost all the way off here recently. When I first cut it back, I cut it really short. I mean, basically down to skin, and I hadn't filmed anything for a while. It was a period where I had gotten like a month or two ahead, and I knew I had to take some time off, and I basically shaved. And I got carded for beer, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm 46 or 47. 14C28N. We're going to get back to this. 14C28N, I had somebody ask me, they're like, on the private Discord for the members, one of the guys, Matt, was like, well, you said you don't like the super steels. What budget steels do you like that you think are no, I was talking about S30V, and he was like, what budget steels do you think is better than S30V? And I was like, fucking all of them. S30V is one of the worst steels out there. I hate it. Like, people are trying, like, no, you just haven't had good S30V. I have had more knives in S30V than some people have had knives, period. And every one of them I've had the same issues. I hate S30V. It's chippy. It's not what I want. It, like, the day you sharpen it, that crisp, nasty edge that you get on S30V is great. But then after just not too long, you get microchipping at the edge and it feels like shit. And I'm like, I don't like it. I would take a $60 knife in 14C28N over anything in S30V and a Benchmade. If it's a Benchmade in S30V, like, do you want it? I'll give it to you for free. I'm okay, thanks. No thanks. There's a reason that the only Benchmade I own is this one. It's no longer an S30V. It's now an S90V because I dropped an S30V blade in it and then refinished it because I don't like green and purple. But I always wanted a Benchmade 940. The only time that this is out of its little spot that it lives in here in the studio is a size comparison to another knife, because everybody knows the size of this knife. This is equivalent to but I love, okay, yes, Spydercos are ugly. Not gonna lie, Spydercos are ugly. But the one you have is way uglier. Guys, I have to put my reading glasses on. My eyes are starting to hurt. Pardon me. Got a bailout in 3V. You could not convince me to pay what Benchmade wants for a knife ever. There's no way. There's no way. I used to complain about Spyderco a lot, but at least they're offering a value for what you get. Like, I still think that these knives are a little bit pricey. This one in S90V, I think these were $180. This one stung a little bit when I bought it because this was $240. The Crew Cardo one. I think I wound up with shipping and tax. I think I paid, I want to say I can't remember what I paid for it with tax and shipping to get the one I wanted. It was $230 or $40, something like that. But while these are ugly, what feels good in hand does not always appeal to the eye. Spydercos are some of the most comfortable knives. This guy's always having a good time. So how much did I pay for this? Hang on. We gotta look this up. Uh-oh. My daughter is at the doctor's office in Japan right now. I paid for this knife. I can look it up here. Cancel that. Fuck. Price of everything has went up. So where I found the last S90V run was 160 map. The teal, yeah, that's why I did like 160, 170, 180 in that range. I knew that that was the range it was. Let me see here. I paid for that. I'm checking my bank statement. Now I'm curious. The only reason I'm doing this is because I'm curious. Two. Because I got it from GP Knives, because the one that I wanted was out of stock. 246 total. I paid 246 total for it. So I have a Spyderco. It's kind of an exception. It's sharp. It cuts great, but it's not a good design. It's the Spyderco Tropin. It's pretty ugly. Stretch 2XL and K390. That's going to be. I don't like the stretch. I have to say there's a whole bunch of Spyderco knives I don't like. I like Spyderco knives. I like the Endura series, which means I like the Police, the Endura, the Matriarch 2, the what is the Indela. The Delica is too small. So those are all basically the same family of knife, even though the Police, like people are like, well, the Police is different. It's really not when you look at it. I like the handles on the Endura series. And then, because the handles on the Police are exactly the same. Same with the Matriarch too. The military series, I love the way they feel in hand. I love the military. Well, I really did like the military a lot. I never got to own one, but I got to handle a lot of them. The military, the entire military series, with the exception of the Para 3. I don't like the Para 3. It's just got this weird, it's just got it's got that weirdness to it where the blade to handle ratio is just too far out of whack for me. It looks like what happened if you broke a paramilitary and then you just reground it. You know what I mean? If you broke a PM2, like if you broke a PM2, like a paramilitary. So if you broke one of those and then fixed it, that's what you would have with the PM3. And I just don't like it. It just looks all wanked out. And this one's weird, but it's not as weird as the other one. This one does have a really bad blade to handle ratio. This one's a lot better. This one is a lot better when it comes to blade to handle ratio. But for me, being a big guy, like I'm 6'3", 225 pounds, I think now, that after I weighed myself the other day, and I got really big hands, this is a much better fit in my hand than even this one, the PM2. The PM2 just disappears in my hand. The military is more comfortable. This is still, I think, the best all-around EDC you're going to find. Bigger knives have a tendency to get unwieldy. And so when you start getting up in the higher register of bigger knives, you start having problems where they just don't feel the way you want in hand. And everybody recognizes that. There's a lot of guys that are like, oh, that's not a big... I was commenting, I had 3 knives in pocket. I had this one, I had the Valona. This was an EDC pocket drop I did at work. And this, all of them well over 9 inches. Like this one's 9, and each of these like 9.5 inches, right? And I was like, big time knives, big boy knives. It was, they were all over 9 inches. And guys, that's not big. You want to check out big knives, go to Cold Steel. And I was like, here's the thing. I've talked to Lynn Thompson several times at knife shows. I've got really big hands. I wear XXL gloves. Spyderco knives sometimes are too big. And I talked to Lynn Thompson. This guy's like, well, that's somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. I was like, look, Lynn Thompson even has said that those knives aren't the daily drivers for almost anyone. Those are a niche market, those massive oversized folders. There are certain people that gravitate to those, and they are cool, I will admit. But they're worthless for anything that I would do day to day. You know what I mean? It's like when you start getting past a 4-inch blade, when you hit 4 inches or larger on blade size, you are really starting to get far removed from where your hand is to the point of the blade, which is why skinning blades, big handle, short blade, much more control. You're closer, your fingers are closer to the tip of that blade. There's not as much travel. If someone's to tell you like, no, you can do everything you can with a small knife, you can do with a big knife. No, you can't. You can't. It's impossible. Randall made knives are amazing. I owned one. I had a Randall made Model 1 that I carried downrange, and I had problems with it because I had the tool steel version with the stacked leather washers, and I started getting because the aluminum butt cap that was on it, I started getting galvanic corrosion underneath where you've got two dissimilar metals and they were rusting against each other. And I got rid of it and I replaced it with the cold steel R1 Military Classic. And then I can't remember if I sold it or I lost it. I can't remember what happened, but then I had one of my subscribers, one of my paying members, had a cold steel R1 Military Classic that they didn't carry, and they sent me one as a gift. It was just like, and it's at Scab's house. It's with Scab over at Acquire Boys Cutlery. A big knife does. It feels out of sorts, and that's what I was saying. Like when you get, the further you get from where your index finger and thumb are to the tip of the blade, the more awkward it feels. Now, sometimes, and that's what I love about this knife and the military and the PM2, that curvature kind of negates that a little bit. I'm not sure why, but it seems to align more to the cut. But most of the time, I am going to gravitate to something that's more this size where I'm really close to the point where I'm doing that work, and it's not going to be anywhere near as difficult to control this knife as it is this knife. There can be, now I'm not gonna lie, for raw horsepower cutting, having this in your pocket is going to be great. This is great. Best gravity knife for the money is the EXO gravity knife by Riat. If you can find one, use my affiliate links that are down below. Go to Blade HQ. They're available on Blade HQ, I believe. But this is not unwieldy. I still can use it for small duty tasks. Even like I picked a splinter out of my finger earlier today with this before I went to bed. I was fucking around with the dog in the yard and I got up against our wood retaining wall and I got a splinter in my thumb. But this 100% is so much easier, especially like you guys know, I've talked about it. I have that palsy. I have that shake where I start to, it's much more pronounced on a longer blade than it is on the nerve damage that I have in my neck and shoulders and arms. That shake is much more pronounced on a larger knife. For some things, it's great. But like I said, I was telling the guy, I was like, I mean, if you're carrying an Espada XL, but this is what the guy was saying. He's like, those aren't big knives. You need to see. And I was like, Lynn Thompson and I talked at a show. And unfortunately, I never released I've got the video somewhere. Now that I have the new editing software, I may try and I may have losing sight on the fact that knives are tools. Personal protection tools need longer blades. This is true. This is true. And there's a reason I carry a large knife and then a smaller or mini knife. This is a knife that I would feel comfortable using for self-defense. That's not too big for me to carry on a daily basis. But at any rate, I was talking with Lynn Thompson at his show, and we were talking about, and he admits it. He's like, there's not many people that are going to daily carry the Espada XL, or what was that, the Vaquero XL or the Voyager XL. There's not a lot of people that are going to carry those as their daily driver. If I'm going out in the woods and I want a knife that doesn't take up as much space in my pack, I'm not going to carry it in my pocket. I'm going to throw it in my pack. But like, it takes up less space. I get the same amount of cutting power from those as I do from this, but in my pack, it takes up so much less space than something like this, or something like this behemoth right here, which this is a great knife. So yeah, I'm setting up the studio to film. So as soon as I let you guys go here, just in a few minutes. But yeah, they have their place, but not in my pocket driving to downtown San Diego to go to work. And this guy was like, oh, you just don't understand what you're talking about. I can't. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, one, if you guys don't follow Outdoors 55, one of the gurus of the knife tube world there, you're just not going to get me. Blade Show West is the closest I'm going to go. Maybe some of the local shows here in San Diego. I hate crowds. I got PTSD. I hate crowds, Alex. I hate to fly. I'd have to fly to Atlanta. And the fact is, kids started college. The wife and I are both working. It's not something that's, it's just not something that's going to happen. I had these big hopes of going to Blade Show one time, and I've seen how crowded it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, it becomes a situation like my little buddy Nico will tell you, like when I'm in a crowded scenario like that, like when we would go to knife shows in Vegas, the likelihood of me going to jail just skyrockets, because I get immediately on edge. I get hypervigilant. I'm grumpy. I'm over the top, and I'm gonna fuck somebody up. That's just all there is to it. So it's just not something that's good. And plus, now I'm working full time. I'm working third shift, and I'm not gonna lie. I kind of don't like knife shows these days. It's morphed into something that I'm not as happy with. You know what I mean? Like I'm much more happy, like the big knife shows. It's turned into a mad dash to go and try and flip knives. People buying knives they have no intent of ever doing anything with. It's turned into, what do I want to say? It's turned into like the comic book conventions, or I don't know. I have no real interest in them anymore. So Clark County Jail, yeah, I don't want to go there. Last time we went to Vegas, Nico and I were in Vegas, and we didn't even leave the hotel. Not so much a dick measuring contest, it just winds up being people just buying stuff and then flipping it. I'm not gonna lie, have I done it before? Yeah, but that's because I bought a knife and knew I could do it, and I knew I could flip it, but I didn't set out to do that. It's not like that's why I went. I went because, like, typically I'll go to the Friday Night Blade Affair for our local shows, which that's where Bob Terzuola is going to be. That's where Todd Rexford and Sinkovich and all those guys that I love to get to talk to. That's where they're going to be, and I get to see their knives. I did buy a Rexford because I had a shot at buying a Rexford, but it wasn't my money. I was what do you want to call it? I was a proxy. So I bought a Rexford and I immediately flipped it for a $10,000 profit, but it wasn't my profit. I got part of it, but I didn't make $10,000 on that. But at any rate, got to run, catch a flight. Take it easy, man. I'm glad you dropped in. I try to do these, like, if you're ever awake this time in the morning in Pennsylvania, I typically do them. If you guys have not checked out a Lon Humphrey, these things are great. This is a great knife. So yeah, have a safe flight. I'm going to hit you up Alex, I'll hit you up when you get home. I'm going to shoot you a text and then figure out a time. I wanted to talk to you about something. Wanted to call you on the phone. I was going to call you before you left out for the show, and I just ran out of time. So Alex is a great dude. Like I said, make sure you go follow his channel. You're not going to find much better content out there, except for mine, but I just don't have the following. Assholes. So we got like 5 minutes left. Let's talk about something that really pisses people off. I don't like a lot of the new knife designs, and I don't like how the review process in the knife industry goes these days. And I understand why we do it, but now that I'm working full time and I'm not fucking at YouTube's mercy, I'm not at YouTube's mercy to make money anymore. I don't care anymore. I'm going to do knives that I like. And if that means that knife might not be available, like people are like, well, why would you do a video about a knife I can't buy? I was like, I didn't put it up here for you to fucking buy the knife. I put it up here because it's a good knife. And if you can find one, you probably should get it. Like, I don't run this channel at your mercy. Yeah. What's up, Billy? Yeah, there's so many good designs out there that just have been forgotten about. And then there's garbage designs that just keep getting, like I said, built well. It's probably a good knife for a lot of people, but the Oz Roosevelt, I just don't fucking get it. I do not get it. Can you see what? Yeah, being at YouTube's mercy. And like I said, that's like, I'll mention every once in a while that I have super chats available if you guys enjoy the content, you want to support the channel so that like it helps me be able to buy a couple knives here and there so I can do stuff. Then absolutely, like that's available. But can you see what? Not from here, you can't. You guys don't even know if I'm wearing pants. That's the nice thing about doing these live feeds like this. I'm like, you guys don't know what kind. I could be in my pajama pants, which I've absolutely filmed. I've filmed videos in my pajamas or shorts. You guys can't tell because you never see me above the waist. The knife, which knife? This one? This is a Lon Humphrey Custom Tucson. Oh, don't get me started on the donut knives. Can we please just, can we just leave? Can we fucking stop doing that, please? Here, hang on a second. I'm going to show it to you. No, I'm not. Look, guys that are watching this, that are going to demonetize the stream, I'm just simply taking this off my belt. That's the Lon Humphrey Custom. I cannot recommend that knife enough. I have to take it off anyway because I'm going to have to sit down to film some of this stuff. I can't recommend this knife enough. This is probably one of the best knives you're going to find on the market today when you're looking at an outdoor fixed blade. It's gorgeous. It's functional. It's under $500. It's under $400. I think you can find these on Knives Ship Free and Lon Humphrey's website. Those are the only places you can find them. So I'm sweating, guys. I'm gonna have to take this sweatshirt off. It got warm out here all of a sudden. It's like 71 degrees. It's summertime, so the garage stays warm even after. Guys, if you have not dropped a like, please do so. Right now, I would have to say that my knife of the year, even though having a military has kind of been a side grail for me. I've always wanted one of these. I could never find one. I had a bunch of money that popped up that I wasn't expecting, and so I got this. I was not going to purchase this. It's been one of those things I've always wanted. It's not so much a grail, but I've always wanted an actual military, and since I love the compression lock, the Military 2 was just kind of a no-brainer when I had the money to get it. And so, I love crew wear. I love micarta as handle material. So it's kind of the perfect storm of things. And I was like, here's the deal. If I don't like it, I'll just sell it. You know what I mean? I gotta say, this has had the best lace. You remember how we talked about like how bad Spyderco's edges can be? This edge, it came perfect. It's perfectly aligned. There is no low spot. There's no inconsistencies in the blade. I don't know if you saw the video. This edge from Spyderco is the best edge I've ever had. And even after, I am always the guy that gets the lemon. There's always something wrong with my knives when I get them. And I have to deal with it. This one came perfect. And not on YouTube. I don't, Jacob. You can't monetize that content. Even after cutting up a ton of cardboard and not stropping it, it is still like whisker, like it'll still whittle hair. It's ridiculous how good the edge was on this. It came perfect. But even though I love that knife a lot, this is still my knife of the year. Like when Microtech gets something right, when Microtech gets knives right, holy crap, did they get it right. This thing is, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this knife is perfect. Like there's some minor things with it. This is as close to perfect as you're going to get in a folding knife. I really think it is. And the fact that Microtech has dropped their prices. First Microtech knife I bought was $450. The second one I bought was $410. And it wasn't that that's just because it was a different model. They have, over the years, their prices have went down. This was $302, which is $150 almost less than what I paid for my first Microtech in 2015. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to work. You refine your processes so you can still make money, but not screw your customers. And then you got Benchmade, who's making knives that are nowhere near as good as this and selling them for $700. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. How many knives do I have? I can't even tell you. I could not even begin to tell you how many knives I have, but I can kind of show you just a smattering of it. Every shelf on here has knives on it. Those are boxes full of knives. There are knife cases behind the green screen out here in the studio. They are everywhere. I'd have to say, because there's also boxes of knives in our storage area here at the house, and I have a storage, wild guess, I'd have to say I've probably got 400 knives easy here at the house. I know that I have a case that I keep locked up when I'm not at home. It's in a safe. I have a case that has $15,000 worth of knives in it. And that's one case. That's not counting everything else. There's knives that you can't even see because they're in a cupboard over here. There's fixed blade knives. I've got knives everywhere. Juan, come on. What kind of crap is that? What? Oh, guess what? That's not what we talk about here. So, bye. Joe X just put out a video about cold steel. Joe X just put a video out an hour ago. His #1 knife for zombie apocalypse is the cold steel Espada XL. I don't get me wrong, I love the Espada XL. I couldn't carry that. That's not a daily carry. It's not a daily carry. It has its place. I have, I don't. My buddy has it. I have one of the big cold steel Spartan folders that's a really good camp knife. I don't care. I would not carry it in my pocket, but I definitely would be able to throw it in my pack. Like I said, takes up less space. Kind of along the same lines as something like this. which is a folding hatchet. It doesn't do the job great, but comparatively to something like, is it in here? Or did I let my buddy borrow it to go camping? I have a Nebulax hatchet, a tomahawk. That's my biggest knife. We've went through this on a live feed before, so that's gonna be one of the last things I do. We talked about it. It's gonna be the Grizzly, the Work Tough Gear Grizzly. I think this is the biggest knife I have. I think this is the biggest knife I currently have, which is the Work Tough Gear Grizzly fixed blade. I don't have a lot of really large folding knives. Where can you get that folding hatchet? You can get that at KATSU Knives, and you can use coupon code crazysharp. So if you really want something like this or some of their other really, really cool knives, KATSU makes a lot of really cool stuff. This is the KATSU. I don't think it has a name. I think it just has a number, but it's on their website. This is one of their most popular items. It is a axis lock hatchet, and it comes with a sheath. It's got a pin so that you can lock it in, and it will do a lot of the tasks of some other knives or some of the other hatchets. This is not like a perfect camping tool, but it's like something if you're just going out for a day and you need something like this. But you can, KATSU Knives, you can use my coupon code crazysharp, all one word, all lowercase. I think that saves you 10%. So if you're interested in something like this, I do have a coupon code where you can check out all their stuff. It is really good for light camping. It's a little heavy, but it's no heavier than an actual hatchet. I have a Grimsmo Norseman. That's my favorite knife, but it's also a $1,000 knife, and I'm only ever going to own one. Was my sharpest knife? All my knives are sharp. I ran a professional sharpening service. I sharpened knives for custom knife makers. I sharpened knives for customers. I've sharpened $5,000 custom knives and things like that. I can't say that I have a knife that is the sharpest knife I own because, well, to tell you the truth, all my knives are shaving sharp. If you don't believe me, there's videos of me back in the day where I used to shave with knives that I sharpened. I shaved with a Bowie knife. I shaved with a tomahawk. I shaved with a Riat pocket knife. I've shaved with multiple knives on the channel. Just full lather up and shave. I sharpened a butter knife to shaving sharp and shaved with it. So, well, guys, it's been an hour and 7 minutes. I'm going to get off of here. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't dropped a like, please do so on the way out. Think about donating to the channel or channels that you follow. Like if you follow a YouTube channel and you like it, drop a super chat. So, Spyderco makes the best butter knives. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the sharpest knife I've had come from factory, I believe, in a very long time. This is the sharpest knife I've had come from factory in a very long time. This was a close second. I did finally have to resharpen this. I do like this Microtech M390K MK. It sharpens up pretty well, and it seems to have held an edge very, very well. So, guys, I may do this again tomorrow night. I just said it's my Grimsmo Norseman. What is my favorite knife? It's Grimsmo Norseman. You'll have to look it up. I've done videos about it. So I'm out, guys. I have to get this stuff ready, and I got to film. I got to film, or you guys aren't going to have full-length videos. Make sure that you check out the full-length videos that I do. I do full knife reviews and stuff like that. Spyderco. So, at any rate, guys, I love y'all. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.